Okay, right now. Oh, okay. I've always Google has its little voice when it says we are recording the session. I always forget it's going to say that. So here we are. This is so far, unless somebody else shows up, a very small meeting, group meeting. But what I have on my mind before we open any sort of conversation is the void moon in Aries and the conjunction in Aries as well. It's it's compressing, and I'm noticing it personally just because it's conjunct my sun. So I figure if we get more people in here, I was gonna have everybody, talk about their charts and whatever, and but we can still give you one-on-one attention that way if you want to talk about your chart and any sort of preconceived notions that you might see starting to dissolve because of Neptune. In my case, I keep hammering this home. It's the relaxation, it's the planning ahead to make sure that I have a protected space to decompress. And I think a lot of women have this as an issue where they feel like if they're not occupying 100% of their time and space with something, that they're not using their time wisely
Yeah.
some kind of way. And there's this whole, and I think we get it from our moms. Like our moms never really sat still. My mom, in my case, she was capable of doing beautiful art. She can sew a whole closet worth of clothes, and she can paint um, really well. But she wouldn't allow herself to do anything artistic unless she had gotten a bunch of work done in the day. And I would witness it. Like she would put it off and never get anything artistic done because she never felt like she earned it properly. And the punishment of that was she never created anything beautiful after a certain point. And I think it got worse as her kids got older, of course, and whatever. Like she could China paint. I don't have any of her paintings in my house right now, but that's kind of sad, actually. I have my own, though. I have a house full of paintings that I've done that I've sort of lagged on, and I've got works in progress that I haven't completed, and all these things. And I keep saying yes and adding to my plate of things to accomplish because of this preconceived notion of achievement and pressure. And it's having a repeating effect where it's actually funneling my creativity down and filing it into something that's kind of dull and not interesting and making it very average. So I feel like if I can bring any sort of attention to the current energies, it would be about what can you let go? What can you delete? What can you let Neptune dissolve about your identity, your your concept of self? There's this song called Who Am I Without Work by Tony Jones. And it's like a bunch of affirmations. Tony Jones mainly just does affirmation music. Um, and that question lingers with me a lot because of I don't I don't know who I am sometimes without the roles that I've created, leadership roles or spiritual leader or spiritual advisor roles, and I don't down tune like I should. And so I feel like this pressure is forcing me into my feminine because this is such a masculine sign, and Saturn is a structure builder, yes, but he's also a wall. Going to create walls and make sure that you're experiencing containment so that you can focus on what it is you really need to be building as far as the truth, and not necessarily wasting time on things that just spend your energy. So the wisdom is differentiating what's a distraction and what's actually doing something for your mission. and also, like I said, deleting certain things that are a waste of energy. So that's really important as far as all that's concerned. But I want to ask you, Lex, since it's just us two, what your wins are. What are you excited about? I know that you've been doing readings, and I think that's really exciting to see your progress from having imposter syndrome to not really wanting to do it yet, but then moving into it on your own, which I'm so proud of. So tell me, how that's going, and if there's anything challenges or whatever I could probably help you with, hopefully.
Sorry, my kids are loud. Um,
Okay.
but um, hold on, Auden. Oh my god.
Family, it's okay. I think your mic faded out though.
Um, Sorry, he's upset over he doesn't want to watch what I put on the TV.
Oh,
Uh,
fair.
but my readings have been going good. I've mentioned it before to you that um, like your style of learning and Autumn. I don't know what you want to watch, buddy.
Oh,
This episode is made possible in part by.
Is this okay? Autumn. Your style of like learning and connecting with the deck has it's really helped me. Because I've been reading tarot for a couple years. Um, but I didn't like I still every time I did tarot, I felt like I still needed to look up and see what the card meant, whether it's in the booklet or if I'm Googling it. Um, and I don't feel like I have to do that anymore because
that's
I'm like, reading based on my feelings, and I've gotten rid of, well, mostly gotten rid of like the idea of being wrong. Because, like you've said, like sometimes the card is going to pull in a way that doesn't necessarily go by what the book says.
hmm
Um, and I've gotten a lot more confident and comfortable with doing readings. And I found joy in doing it again.
That's so good. I love hearing that because it can you can freeze if you get too much in your head, and having as much Gemini energy between the two of us that we have, I understand how your brain can run a train on you that way, where we are conditioned for a right and a wrong way of communicating, and we are kind of taught that our feelings, especially as a Gemini moon set of people right here right now, we're intellectualizing our emotions all the time.
Yeah.
So it's there does feel like there's a right and a wrong way to feel, that there's a way that would be mutually beneficial in every situation or something. And when it comes to readings, it's not that clean. You get such a variety of definition that you get surprised, and so you have to connect with your feelings in a way that's indelible, and that can be very difficult to do when you're in freeze mode.
Yeah.
So this type of learning pattern can be done, I think, with astrology. It can be done with even just picking up on intuitions. A lot of people want to get to where they don't need cards. They can just start pulling in information or channeling in certain ways. And I feel like the notebook is a very underutilized tool in regards to connecting with your feelings that way. But when it comes to the images on the cards, it happens to me all the time where I think I know the picture, but I'll sit there to note, write it down, and new things will pop up every single time. And when you're in front of somebody in the middle of a reading, you get flop sweat and start thinking what they're processing in the moment, especially if you're in front of them across the table and not online, right? You have
Yeah.
that interaction where you feel a lot of pressure to say something, anything, and you don't have time to analyze the card in the moment, and you fall back on things that you've said before or heard or felt or read, and it becomes disingenuous in the moment to where the true energy is. And when it comes to cards, there's no right and wrong. There's just resonant or not. If it doesn't feel like it hits, um, I've literally had people come back a year later and be like, "This made sense now." It took about 2 years for one of my predictions to come true, and she outright denied it at first. She was just getting into what you call it. She's getting into psychotherapy. She's always been an astrologer and a card reader the entire time I've known her, but I told her that she was going to marry the topics and write a book about psychology and tarot, or psychology and astrology. She's going to start combining these things. And she balked at it. She said no, but there's a book now that's in production, and it will be printed and available to buy very soon, because it eventually did make sense to her to come in. So I will always encourage people to go with their gut, even if the person that you're reading for has resistance to it. Just encourage them to take notes anyway, because over time, it depends on what kind of reader you are. Like sometimes you're a surface reader where you see things on the surface and that's where your reading is. But for a 12th, 8th houser, your readings are likely to see the subtext.
Yeah.
So it won't be as obvious on the surface often initially. And so you'll have to wrestle with those feelings of discomfort and not being validated as a reader. You won't get an immediate turnaround of like, you know what? Thank you for that. I felt that. I'm sitting with that. It was correct. You have to be like, well, they came to you for a reason. They haven't come back with any feedback yet. I know it's different when you're doing it for the purpose of reviews, right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't, I should probably get more reviews, honestly. I have some, but they're on a little bit of an older side. And when people have come back around, I took screenshots and never compiled them into anything. And I probably deleted the screenshots after a while. I've been terrible at marketing myself in that direction, but uh, don't do that. Don't do what I did. But I've been doing this so long, it's like a lot of it doesn't the reviews don't come in one trickle,
Mhm.
especially with not having had a website for the majority of the time. It's all been, one-on-one scheduling, like real unorganized, like. But you have that moment where there's the ending of the reading, and the next time you talk to somebody, and you won't know until they tell you what's up. So that's part of the discomfort as a reader that you've got to get used to, and not try to fill that space with a judgment. You can't judge, oh, well, they didn't say anything, so this is what that means. You can't assign a meaning to their silence.
Yeah.
It's very, you have to give yourself all of that compassion and grace to be in your truth and in the moment, and feeling these images, and not waffle during the silence. And you have to realize they came to you for a reason. They paid you for a reason. And you stand on that business, you know. It's truly a test of faith, and you do have a lot of moments of imposter syndrome trying to peek its way in there because for some reason that feels more logical than being out on a limb. Human
Yeah.
brains are weird. Yeah.
Yeah, something that I'm like having trouble with is that um well, for one, with the whole thing about like trying to fill the space if you are like doing in person, that's one of the main reasons why I haven't um like got myself on the schedule yet for
Mm,
live readings. Is I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna freeze up, and because people are waiting on me to start talking, you know. um and then as far as like waiting for feedback from people, I am like, well, you know, maybe they didn't like it. Like maybe I said something wrong.
you,
And then
yeah.
like I go back and look at what I said, and I don't think that, you know, it was wrong or that
Correct.
there was something about it that I don't know. I don't know.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I do, and it's one of those you got to get you. It's practice, a lot of practice. I still feel very emotional about the first few readings that I ever did professionally.
Mm.
I just try not to think about them because of how nervous I was in that moment. And I wound up doing a couple of repeat readings because I didn't feel like I was in my best energy at the moment. I didn't feel like the sparks were flying, and it was more like the pressure was on, and I was just saying stuff to say stuff. And so I'll think about that every now and then, and but it's one of those things that you have to kind of release like a butterfly
Yeah.
and trust that you were given this gift for a reason. You have a pull towards it for a reason. It's a calling. And one day that calling might change, but right now, you know, this is the vein of helping people that you've been required to do until further notice. And that way you kind of get in your confidence of well, I'm on my mission. I'm putting one foot in front of the other in faith, and this is the path that I'm being asked to be on. So the right words will come. You say your little card prayer. I don't know if you know. I don't expect people to pray the exact same thing I do, but I always pray for my words to come and be as clear and concise as possible, and that only energies of our highest good come into the space, so that anything that I feel after that comes up for impulse, or it's just the word, even if it's not the word I meant to say, but some other word flies out of my mouth, that it's all leading up to something, even if it's confusing to me in the moment. Like you're just at that point, you're the conduit, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to make sense for you, and you don't always get that answer back. You don't always get that phone call or that it resonated, and
Yeah.
it is awkward sometimes.
It feels
But
awkward.
yeah, hella awkward. There's a lot of people that I've read for in ASO where some of them aren't there anymore, and some of them we've had some fallouts. But in particular, their immediate reaction was that my reading was harsh,
I've never
and
about yours.
well, it did maybe.
For them, maybe.
That's
Maybe.
relative, right? That's the
Yeah.
relativity of doing a reading is their their style is perhaps more tuned to the people that don't trust their gut as well. and they're
Mhm.
wanting to people please, and they're wanting to sugarcoat and soften blows, and if I see that there's a truth, I tell it the way I hear it, not try to soften it and you know lube it up. Like I literally just
Yeah.
tell it like I hear it in my head, and that can at times might not be tactful because the person might not need to hear tact.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's been used to having their ass be kissed, and it's like, well, my guides aren't like ass kissy type of guides. They're going to tell it to you straight because like I wouldn't have came into this planet as an Aries with double Gemini. If I was supposed to soften things up, I would have been a Libra, you know. It
Yeah.
just is what it is. Like, so there's all kinds of different readers, and like, there will be people who have something to say, and it's really rare if they're unhappy with the reading that they say anything at all. It's, usually they will say nothing. Occasionally they'll say nothing and then come around with 6 months or a year down the road, you know.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the crapshoot of putting yourself in this work is it's not like doing a 9 to 5 where there's overhead bosses and productivity protocol and customer relations. You have to really make all this stuff up as you go as a tarot reader
Mhm.
and find out what works for you. And that's one reason why I will down the road. And at any time, if people want to consult with me during these live group meetings, we'll look at your chart a little bit and try to unpack a way that, maybe something that you're doing isn't sticking with your soul correctly, and you need to kind of look into your under the hood of the car and see why things aren't running so smoothly for you. And maybe we need to change up the strategy. I'm not a
Mm.
strategic person, but like, um, even I recognize that the way people do things sometimes might not be the way that is correct for them. So maybe there's a deconstruction and unlearning more than anything. That's why I have the unlearning lab, is because a lot of this stuff is about deep programming
Mhm.
and getting out of your head and unlearning how to play small and stop shrinking and putting yourself in a bite-sized, container. And it's really about how to wear your personality once you open the reading, and then trusting yourself, and then once that's closed, continuing to walk with your head high and not getting your head about it. It's just a duty that you performed, and you have to trust that it was all correct in the moment, and that takes a lot of guts. So to see you out there already, trusting yourself enough to get those reviews and to start professionally reading for people is amazing. You're doing a fucking great job.
Thank you.
Period. Like, I'm really proud of you. And I haven't seen Troy doing the same level of, anybody watching this might not know who these people are. That's fine. Um, that's fine. He hasn't been doing the same dailies because I don't think his goals are the same as far as being approved in that way. But I think he is learning and absorbing things from the strategies that I have in place. Just I don't know of a better word. Strategy. It's like, it's in hindsight I'm able to create a strategy, but as I'm creating it, I have no idea how to tell you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, I think he's still absorbing things, and he's still learning about what imposter syndrome means for him and what to do about it with these astrology, transits as well. So I'm glad to see both of you guys, wanting to do the calendar. But as far as um, your readings are concerned, what would be more helpful for you? Would you prefer to have a soft opening where perhaps we did a live together, even in the Discord? I would do it at the Discord. We just can't record it because I
Yeah.
don't think that's how it works. But we could do a live together, and that way maybe you wouldn't have to worry about silence,
Yeah, we could do that.
you know. So I want to help you with your confidence any way I can, as like the group leader for that. Like as far as getting people
Hmm.
approved and on the calendar, if that's the only thing that's holding you back is figuring out how to have the gift of gab in the moment, or being comfortable with silence as the moment of translation is happening. Like I don't mind helping you with that at all. At all.
Yeah, I would definitely be down for that. And it's so like, I don't know, contradictory to like how I am as a person, because like just in general, like I am a person that, you know, you can come over to my house and you don't have to say anything. Like we can sit in silence together on the couch and look at our phones, or, whatever. Like I don't ever feel like I need to fill the silence unless I know that maybe the person is like very socially anxious. Then I
Mm.
will do the yapping so that they can warm up to being comfortable to talking. But just in general, like I don't have that. I don't know. I guess maybe it's like a common Gemini thing that like if it's quiet, then we need to talk. Because my partner is a Gemini moon, and he does that too. Like
I love that.
he needs to, if there's silence, like he's got to say something because it makes him like feel awkward. Um, I don't, but just like the idea, I mean, I've tried like reading in person for like my mother-in-law, and I don't know, just like her sitting there and staring at me while I'm like trying to like gather the message and what the cards mean, and because it's not an immediate response
Hmm.
usually, and it just, I don't know, it makes me feel like damn, like I need to say something. Like, why are you staring at me? Like,
During those times, sometimes I'll say exactly what's coming in, even if it's not right yet,
mhm,
as it's delineating or as it's coming into a form, even if I have to backtrack because something else that meant more popped up. I don't know how to
mhm.
describe that better.
No, I get it.
It's just something that brings a little bit more true, was right under the surface of that first thought. And, sometimes it's about seeing the cards two different ways, um, positive and negative can pop up. And you're not necessarily using a reversal. It's just multiplicity and probability coming together, and there's multiple ways somebody can choose to wear the energy. So you have this venue and you have that venue, and sometimes that pregnant silence, though, you can't avoid it. It's something that you have to learn how to own.
Hmm.
Like, hold on, I gotta listen. It's really difficult when you're used to being on air, or some sort of, the camera puts a pressure on it. In person you can kind of command that pregnant silence
Hmm.
slightly differently than online, when people are like, you get, say you're doing a live on TikTok, right, and you're having a moment of download, and somebody opens up their phone and they're seeing you, and they're scrolling, and they're like, oh, she's not talking right now, scroll. Like, oh, she's just staring at the screen. That's boring. I think about stuff like that a lot.
Hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I don't really get on TikTok lives, is because people will get on there just to fall asleep on a TikTok live, and
No, for real, I've seen people on there sleeping.
I'm just like, I don't understand who would sit there and watch that, but also, like, that kind of low grade content isn't something that is interesting to me. I want to be there to interact with people and have a meaningful back and forth, which is one reason why I'm doing the school and group meetings like this instead of doing the Katie show and getting on a live and just pulling cards that way. It's a longer, harder build, but I I'm so hungry to get to know people on a real one-on-one basis or a group one-on-one basis, like
Mhm.
have regular meetings with people and actually helping people get deeper rather than be superficial, you know? Um, so it's you really got to figure out your own communication style, but allowing that silence is one of the biggest things that I've had to work on is commanding that space and allowing for it to breathe.
Yeah.
It was I think one of the oddly enough, a guided meditation that really drove that point home for me. I can't remember if it was Michael Seeley or Jody Whitley or whatever on YouTube, but there was a long time when I was reprogramming my subconscious after my divorce and trying to become friends with it instead of be afraid of my own thoughts. And I was just tortured for the longest time being without some sort of drug or distraction or drinking or something. I was always trying to pack my brain with sound or chemicals.
Mhm.
And I was really, really working hard on commanding all of that mental energy into something that was mine instead of having a crutch all the time. And so I was listening to these guided meditations at night all the time just to because talking was soothing to me and it was keeping my mind out of spiral,
Mhm.
the worst case scenario spiral. But this particular guided meditation had long breaks in between the talking. And there was something magical about the end of her sentence and the beginning of her next one when I think it must have been a her or I think it must have been like the spaces were long enough that it started to give my the little hairs on the back of my neck, it started to stand up as if somebody was just tickling my hair right here. And that moment I realized how those silences can really give energy to what has no name. It gives a delivery point for energy to be sat in
Mhm.
and crafted and sculpted instead of constant stimulus. So it can become what it's meant to be instead of what you're forcing it to be in the moment. And that's so important as a reader or somebody sitting, even even just listening to somebody talk and tell a story or like or listening to a kid tell a story even like just emptying your mind for a second and having that space of reception and then listening and then turning it around and speaking on it's you can't get away from it sometimes and even pastors on like evangelists on TV will use that pregnant pause to have something sink in. So don't be afraid of it. It's part of your art overall.
Any far away?
Sorry.
It's okay. I know you're multitasking. You're a mom. You already do. You have a lot of assignments that you have in this life, and you do them really well, I think.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you on the stuff that you're accomplishing, even though that you're busy as fuck.
Really. I always feel so busy. And they're supposed to be cleaning their room and they broke a snow globe.
Oh, why is it always the broken glass when
Oh,
you have so much to do?
I know.
Oh, I had that happen recently. I was getting into my tea cabinet. We can keep this short if you have other things to do. Like it's just the two of us. So I mean, we don't have to go over the full hour. But I broke a glass recently. Like getting into my tea cabinet, there was a jar of cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon that I wanted to get and put some into my tea, and it slid out of the cabinet and broke everywhere. And I was able to, like brush off some of the cinnamon because it's not like it's porous, like there wasn't
Mhm.
shards on it, but it was just really unnecessary, unnecessary feeling. So I think, as far as the kind of lessons that have come out of this, like little
We'll talk about it again.
one-on-one today are really good
We'll talk
because
about it again.
somebody's going to really need to hear this silence message today. So I'm glad you brought that up. We can close if you're distracted. We can have the meeting close and we can do it again soon.
It doesn't matter to me either way. I think that, I mean, if there is anything more to be said, then we can keep going.
I don't know. Unless you have something else pressing that you think I can help you with, we can keep it short since it's just us two. Somebody will get some value out of this on the replay. It'll make them want to be here more because you're getting all the attention, right?
Yeah.
So if there's anything that yeah, anything at any time during one of these that pops up, a deep requirement or something that's been bothering you, you're
Mhm.
more than welcome to bring that up to my attention. I can help you at any point with anything. But I think we have a game plan as far as getting you on the schedule,
For
and
sure.
then like the silence, working on being comfortable with the silence is going to take time and
Yeah.
a lot of practice of allowing yourself to think. It's very feminine,
Yeah.
very feminine. Discipline of slowing down is huge. And I think that's one of my biggest lessons right now is that slowing down shit is important for a real expansion moment. So, yeah. I don't think there's anything else to cover in the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, we can keep it short. I'll schedule another one of these here soon, probably in the early part of March. But I'm trying to really pare down the amount of recordings I do on the weekends at this point. Like once unless this grows, the school grows, I do want to do these multiple times a month for the school. I just with 7 people, it just doesn't seem logical to do that many right now. So
Yeah.
when people see these replays and they'll want to start coming and watching and being a participant more, that's gonna be the meat and potatoes. So I'm excited about that. But right now, I'm excited that we got to talking about some of the things that in a real life reading are making you struggle. So that's exciting to be helpful with that. Anything, and yeah, anytime. Are you noticing anything about the Aries energy?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I feel like since the shift of like Saturn and Neptune and moving to Aries, I feel like I have slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and like just kind of being like, well, if I don't want to do something, then like I don't have to do it.
That forcing thing is going right out the window.
Yeah.
I absolutely feel that. It's like, it's funny because you would think with all that attention in Pisces that things would have been a lot more go with the flow, but they weren't. You wanted to
Yeah.
force things, and now that all this is in Aries, it's like it's almost like you feel the universal momentum behind it all, and you want to get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything that you could force is probably just going to gunk up the works.
Yeah.
I feel that. That's exciting though. That just means everything. I mean, I feel like we're going to learn about being provided for that way. That's
Yeah.
why I think it's exciting.
It ties
So,
into what you had mentioned earlier about like women and feeling like we need to basically always be doing something. Because I've had some moments lately where I'm like, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not gonna do it. And then feeling like, damn, like I should have done that because now I feel like I didn't do anything all day. Like,
a little guilt.
yeah, but it's fine because I deserve to rest too.
It's You shouldn't have to earn regulation.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to earn being at your highest energy level. And it
Yeah.
feels like that's the way we've been forced to operate is when I get all this done, then I can rest. Then I can do this. Then I can do that. And it's more of a rebellion to let the dishes sit in the sink for another day
Mm,
while you rest, or any other thing that could, signify that you're not getting it all done in one day.
yeah.
Like it's okay to take bite sizes, and it's really getting ingrained. And it's only just the early lessons of this Aries and sorry, Neptune and Saturn and Aries shit. So I can't imagine the kind of person I'm going to be at the end of this. But I do
It's
feel
my
like
Saturn return.
you, yeah, you're a young one. That's okay though. You and Leo Skeppy both are getting in your Saturn return at the same time. So I would binge watch a lot of Leo Skeppy. I put that in the Pisces season post in the school, but I mean that like his podcast is amazing as far as confidence builders.
Hmm.
I I love hearing him be so soft and so structured and hard assed at the same time. I love his energy. So I absolutely feel like that's a good encapsulation of how to carry forward and with have the good boundaries. He talks a lot about not forcing things and listening to his soul and just understanding that there's timing involved and your version of timing isn't the higher powers version of timing. So
Yeah.
the way he talks about it is just so apropos for the moment, and he wasn't wrong to be talking about all that for the last 6 months because it's really sinking in. So it's good shit. Like I've been binge watching his episodes for a little minute now, and he's changed a lot for me about what I put up with from people at the bare minimum.
I
I
love that.
highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'll
Like
have to watch his
mm,
videos.
he drilled into my head like if I wouldn't have done that to you, if like you doing something to me that I would never have done to you, then I'm not going to respond with compassion.
Hmm.
I think I'm done with all of that. Like you treated me like that, treated you people treating me like a fan or treating me like I'm an option or they're letting me know they're not really thinking about me. I always try to make sure people feel seen, heard, validated, like I'm thinking about them if they're my friend,
Hmm.
right? So it's that kind of stuff that I'm I'm because of listening to him, I'm more keenly aware of what's going on in my 12th house. Like you guys just fake support me. So that's coming up a lot, but it's not everywhere. I am seeing genuine support. I'm seeing people who want to improve and are coming to me with 50-50 energy where they're willing to do half the work. And that's new. Before, I was seeing a lot of people that wanted to use my energy as a crutch.
Hmm.
Like a full siphoning point just to use my energy to get their ends met. So I feel like there's a big turn as far as how people are using um our our gifts differently. They're hiring us for different reasons than they used to. So it's a really good time to get started on this. and start branching out and getting stronger in it. And I, honestly, I could see your platform growing so fast compared to mine. Like you could easily surpass mine super quick. So I'm excited to see that because I mean, I that's really what I would want from anybody that is learning from me. So that's exciting to me. So I'm thrilled.
I've been like really proud of myself every time like I look at my dashboard, even though like, views and interactions are different, just
They,
still like the reach of views that I'm getting like mind boggles me.
those are people, those are individuals,
Yeah.
human beings on the other side of their screen. And maybe they watched your stuff once or twice, but still that's something that they spent time on. And you say a little like, I don't know, a little prayer of appreciation for every soul that you might have touched.
I love that.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. Like Gary Vee is somebody that I follow and have followed for a really long time. He's one of the first people that I ever heard that when you start building your platform, it takes about 13 years to become trusted and famous for what you're doing. On average, like there's people that have instant success, but they also have other unseen challenges that people who take a long time to build don't seem to wrestle with. Getting success too quickly, too soon can be an issue in and of itself. But when it comes to slow building, just keeping that in mind is kept me from going crazy this whole time because you have to refine your voice. You have to find exactly where you're at. And I started ugly. I started messy. I've done too much in the interest of trying to be enough, which is a very
Yeah.
interesting dynamic. It's like you think you have to be 10 times bigger than you actually are, but the internet really just wants to see you.
Yeah.
And learning how to undo that programming is one of the things that has taken me a while. So I think if there's anything I can, do for people is bring them themselves sooner. Bring them their own flow sooner and help them listen to their own voices sooner so they don't have to waste all that time and start to worry about what other people are perceiving of them, because it's never about that. It's about stepping into the flow of trust with your guides and letting them work through you and trusting that you're being of service and having the right spirit of that more than anything. It's just still showing up.
I love that.
So, I mean, we were almost about to the whole hour anyway. Leave it to some Geminis to
Yeah.
continue talking. I don't mind though. If this is providing value, then fuck yeah, that's what we need. Even now, I'm like the silence is too silenty. Okay, though. Let's see. It's not Aquarius season anymore, which I actually feel better about. I don't like Aquarius season very much.
I usually very much enjoy Pisces season.
It feels like all the mint. I don't know how to describe it, but I always get very lonely feeling in the later half of winter,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm just like, where is everybody? And it just sort of gets better as time goes on and it gets into Pisces season, where it's like I see the wisdom in the seasons. It's not supposed to be active all the time. Again, with the pulling back and letting things be in a flow state instead of a force state.
Let me close. Okay.
Yeah, and Pisces season is like it's winter, yes, but like, spring is approaching. Like life is
Hmm.
coming.
There's in some cases in right now all over the hills and where I live, like there's a lot of snow that just
Hmm.
fell like in the last 2 days, but otherwise the hills are really green. And there's talk of, mega blooms, like wildflower blooms
Hmm.
coming in. So the spring is springing, and pretty soon we'll have the orange blossom smell, and that's one of my favorite things in the whole world is that citrus blossom smell. So I'm excited about this time of year in general. Like, um, it's just that new possibility of growth and allowing the world to show you what it needs from you is nice. It's very nice. Okay. I literally I can't imagine what else to say at this point. So I mean, down the road, we can get into like as far as if there's any. I think it's really smart to talk about not just the cards, but the caveats of reading itself as far as these meetings will continue. So the more shop talk, the better. I think the more I think imposter syndrome has been coming up a lot as far
Yeah.
as the collective is concerned. So I think that's a point that I need to hammer home with people is a lot of people want their imposter syndrome to pass before they start working on anything, and that's
Hmm.
not how it works. That's absolutely not how it works. You have to accept the fact that people might hate you and you stop giving a fuck about that because somebody's going to have something to say at some point, always.
Yeah.
So the mission has to be bigger than all of that. Even if somebody does disagree with you, you're still not technically wrong if you're speaking on your gut. If you're speaking from your ethos and your integrity in a reading, then you're still not wrong. It just might be that either they don't understand what you said yet, it might need some time, or they're not ready to hear that exact thing that came out of your mouth, even though they hired you to say it, and so therefore it was the right time and place. So people are weird that way. So they'll get a hot stove effect and be upset that they touched it, but it's just the way life goes.
I've seen a lot of like astrologers talking about with the shift of Saturn and Neptune into Aries that like the focus on the collective is more so like showing up authentically rather
Real.
than yeah.
Everybody's so cultivated. I've been saying this for a long time. All last summer, I think actually all summer of 2024, and then some of 2025. Um, I was pushing. I had a offering for authenticity calls, like
Hmm.
to kind of get into people's coaching. It's so funny, just to coach people into being more authentic, to get them into more of a space of true expression. And it was a really good deal. I was running for the entire summer, and not one person wanted to do that call with me. There was one person that I wound up doing a giveaway for, which is my Australian in the Skool group. What's up, Sarah? Where we covered some of that authenticity stuff, but it was really a surprise to me how much that topic people want to get close to it, but they don't want to actually dive into it themselves. They're really
Hmm.
afraid of their own authenticity. They're really afraid of what will happen if they unmask in
Yeah.
public. And it's wild to me because I think that's part of the unlearning that we can do here in the lab, because I never had that to begin with homeschooling.
Hmm.
I don't have that lack of confidence when just being myself in the moment, whatever that is. What I do have issues with is cultivating and strategizing a personality for the algorithm.
Hmm.
So it's hard for me to get my messages out there because the algorithm doesn't love to promote my videos. But I'm still learning how to communicate better every day with the algorithm. There's a lot I could do in that regard, but it's never perfect the first time. You got to just continue showing up. That's really it. That's why Gary Vee is such an important person as far as to follow. And while you're creating a platform, he always says, this going back to picturing people, each of you is a single person, right? And he said like 10 views is like having 10 people in the room with you. It changes things when you think about
Oh
10
God.
10 people in the room with you or 50 people in the room with you over, 10 views. Like it
Yeah.
makes it feel different that yeah, you are somebody's getting reached. Somebody's hearing what you had to say today. Somebody's getting touched with whatever it was that you delivered from your heart. So even if it's not big, you're still building a community and it
Yeah.
matters. So I'll always ride for that. E- even with the platform that I have, like there's always more better ways to communicate with people, and you can just develop that as you go. It doesn't have to be a perfect delivery from the beginning, and that's the beautiful part is people love to come on the journey with you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all part of it. So I mean, having your own platform, being authentic, being a good tarot reader, all these things go together. Unfortunately, we have to do it all. We have to be good marketers. We have to do it all, just quite literally. Unless you're not just intending on having it be within the group or a small group, it would change a little bit about your what you deliver, but as far as your platform is concerned. But all the same, you still have to allow yourself to be known on some level and unmask. So this is that vulnerability, that authenticity that I think is so fucking important. The cultivation, the AI, the face tuning has to end at some point.
I was gonna ask you about that with all of like, you know, the pattern of everybody saying that with these transits, authenticity is going to be the main focus. But then isn't it like Uranus that is moving into Gemini or something along those lines?
Yeah,
Which
the
is
Uranus is direct, and I believe it's in Gemini now. It's direct again. So Um, if you look back at the trends for Uranus in Taurus, right? Not only do we have
Mhm,
a lot of natural disasters and big fires, right?
mhm,
Right as soon as Uranus went into Taurus, we had the gender reveal fire, which was like what 20 some thousand acres plus
mhm,
of damage and a couple of dead bodies later. Like we've changed a lot about, that type of frivolity, but also if you look at women's beauty trends for Uranus and Taurus, it was about skincare
mhm,
and clean girl beauty. When it's more and more authenticity started to come through, and then you had the no filter movement where people were taking off their filters. And now that we're getting into Uranus and Gemini, I feel like people will be using AI a lot more to communicate, but there are going to be movements of um, there will be balances. People will be using AI, but also this is a not AI production. There'll
mhm.
be people. I'd like to. I'm getting all upset because I'm not saying what I want to say or delivering it the way I want to deliver it right now. Take a deep breath. Let the silence. And now I'll breathe. Okay. So I've been saying for a really long time since I went on Astro Bros and did that podcast that we were going to be at the beginning of the conversation of transhumanism.
Mhm.
So, what does it mean to be human is going to be the discussion. And people who are striving towards perfectionism will be more obvious, and it will be you won't be able to escape it. Even if the algorithm begins to start favoring AI stuff over human stuff, I think there's going to be a huge backlash of counter culture, um, just humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Just real, honest to goodness, I have a belly button humanity is going to be a huge reaction because Uranus is about, like not only is it about the higher mind, but it's about the rebellion. So that was part of it. Like you have this ideal beauty with Taurus, right? But Uranus and Taurus brought the higher mind, and now we're talking about clean skin, clean girl look. So back to that, we're going to be not just talking about beauty, but we're going to be talking about the mind, communication, how we get our ideas out to our fellow man. The copywriting is going to change. Um, Everything about media delivery is going to change. I feel like, we're going to have to deal with more intrusions uh, with advertising or mind reading as far as our apps or phones, having ads reflected. We might have to deal with the beginnings of them trying to do advertisements in our dreams type shit.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a huge sovereignty thing when it comes to our mind and the way we speak with Uranus and Gemini. Huge. How we allow ourselves to be known will change quite a bit. And we will be hungry for people who are taking their masks off. Huge. And that's why I think it's important to be working on this. Like it's a little late to start the work at this point. In 2024, it would have been getting ahead of the curve, but right now the tidal wave is already building, so you got to get on that shit and like be as real as possible and really, really, really let people see your truth because they'll be able to sense if you're hiding anything real shortly. Because I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. The more I think about it, the scarier it gets. We have a whole generation of people with Pluto and Sagittarius opposing this Uranus and Gemini.
That would be me.
That truth seeking and that belief system calibration is huge with your generation.
I didn't even think about it that it would be like opposing the generation. I'm
Yeah,
gonna look into that.
it's it's not a small transit. People forget that these outer planets are a lot of gravity.
Yeah.
They are generational, but it changes a whole generation. It's
Yeah.
not like an individual sense, but you will see an impact on a whole community. So it
Yeah.
does matter, and if you have a personal planet that has an opposition or a direct aspect to your Pluto or Saturn or whatever, you're going to want to know more about that. It's going to show. It's not nothing. So I don't know. I feel very passionate about this stuff. But we are about 6 minutes over when the hour minute mark was up. So we'll get this all closed up and like continue later. There's always more conversations to have. Do you feel like I answered everything
I think so. Yeah.
and then some? Okay. Well, if there's something that pops up and you have a question, write it down so we can cover it next time.
Okay.
I have no problem with that. Or I'll make a reel about it at some point. Like if you have a question, we'll cover it. So no problem. I love you,
Okay.
Lex.
Love you.
And love anybody else that's watching the replay. I hope you got some value out of this. And if you want more conversations like this and you want to participate and be able to ask your own questions and talk to me, get on my Skool, the Unlearning Lab. That's what we do it. This is how it's done. All right. That's the little plug. I'm gonna end the live for now. And thank you for being here and spending time with me. It meant a lot to me to be able to answer these questions. Appreciate it a
Thank you
lot.
for hosting.
My pleasure. All right, I'm stopping the recording now.
All right.